All right, so here we are going to be talking again about graphing polynomials. This is our final day in section 1 of this chapter, and we're going to talk about how to graph on a graphing calculator. So if you need to, pause the video now and go get your graphing calculator or get your computer if you're using a computer for these problems. Now, one thing I will do in the notes here is I'm going to go back and forth between looking at a calculator and looking at the notes. So I'm hoping, let's see if this will work. Excellent. So I can have my calculator here next to our notes so that we can go along with everything. I know that makes the font a little bit small, maybe make the video into full screen. So here is a calculator and a polynomial. So the first thing you want to do is go to this Y button at the top of your calculator right here so that we can type in our polynomial. And in this case, I've got a different function in here, so I can just clear that, and I will type it in using x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared. So you should have this. Some of you are not going to have x to the third as an exponent. It'll just be with this the caret button, but that's just fine. So if you end up with this, that looks great. Now, one thing that's different you'll see about this problem is it says on -2, 5 by -10, 10. So as we talked about, a lot of us start in the standard window. So if I just graphed it in the standard window, it would look like this, because the standard window is -10, 10 by -10, 10. And what we're going to do now is, if you look here at the top row, you're going to click on the window button, and that's going to give you different settings. So x min, x max, and the scale of x. Now, scale just means how far away are these little lines set. I recommend to keep it in a way that makes sense. So here we're looking at our x min and our x max. Let's see if I can move that over a little bit. Good. There, just adjusting a little bit. These are our x values, and then these will be our y. So then this is our x min, and this is our x max. Same thing here, y min and y max, though those are already in standard. So what I'm going to do is clear and type in -2 for my x min. Clear, type in 5, just using the window that they've given us here in the assignment. Now I'll go click on graph. Again, I'm looking in this top row, and instead you'll see a much more zoomed in function so that when you're graphing it, you're focusing in. You see that it's got an extrema here. Oop, let's see if I can do a little bit better job copying what I'm seeing, like so. And so changing the window is really helpful because sometimes you're just going to need to zoom in and out in order to see what the whole graph is looking like. So practice changing your window in the homework for this assignment. If you need to reset it, you can always go back to this row, zoom, and click standard here, and that will always just take you back to that -10 to 10 by -10 to 10. So if I go back to our graph, the next thing that I want you to practice is finding the extrema and the zeros. Now in this case, the 0 is pretty clear. It's easy to label. It's here at 3. If you look right across here, unfortunately I can't move the pointer over, but if you look here, the graph goes through at 3. Let's see if I can kind of move it. It's a little bit more awkward here, like so. That's at the root. And we're also asked to find the extrema, and if you remember there, what you want to do is go to second trace, and you have this. Now I do not have the pro version of this calculator, but you absolutely can go and renew. You can use your calculator, review those steps. So you're going to use, if you wanted to find 0, if it wasn't easy to find, you would use the 0 option there, and you'll do the same thing that we did before, where they ask you for a left bound, and if we're looking at the graph, you'll move the cursor to the left of the intersection and then to the right, and then you'd click guess and it would take you to the actual point. Alternatively, we do want to find this minimum number here. So if I'm looking at the minimum, I am also going to be asked to find the left bound, and I can move things along using the arrow keys that are provided. I'm now clicking the right and left arrow keys right underneath the trace button. So I could pick a left bound there, click enter, and then click along till I find the right bound, enter, and then it'll ask if I want to guess, and again I will click enter, and I will end up with a cursor at this low point right here, and it says find your answer right here to 2 decimal places, and here it's actually just 2, 4. So if you want more written out notes, I recommend you look at the PDF that's attached. Otherwise, I hope that this was a little bit helpful to be able to see a calculator in the video. If you have questions, please let me know, and I will be happy to answer them on Zoom or in the comments. Talk to you